Does the no contact rule really work? I know that a lot of you are concerned that you're getting false hope, or that you might even be wasting time when you could be making an effort to get your ex back in a more seemingly concrete way. And so I want to address some of those concerns. I talk a lot about the no contact rule, and part of the reason for that is because that's what people ask me to talk about. People want to hear more about it. They want to hear more of what I've seen, more of what they can expect. And so I try to respond to my viewers. And one of the questions I get most of all is, does no contact really work? Let's talk about that. Number one, no contact is the best response based on your ex's state of mind. Stick with me on this. When someone breaks up with you, most of the time, they have had a lot of time to think about it. Weeks, maybe months, maybe even years. And so thinking that in that moment you can talk them out of it, or that you can kind of launch a campaign where you're trying to convince them to get back together with you, and you just have to keep trying harder, which a lot of us have been told that since we were children. If you want something, you just have to try harder and persevere. But that's only true if you're doing the right things. And in the moment that they want to get away from you, you trying to prevent that from happening actually works against you, because it makes them try harder to get away, because they are convinced they want this, or else they wouldn't have the awkward conversation, the difficulty of watching you hurt, because they still do care about you unless you've just been terrible to them. But in order to get themselves to be able to go through with that moment of breaking up with you, they have to want it, and they have to be convinced that that's what's best for them as much as they can be. There is doubt in that moment. It's something like 70% convinced they want the breakup and 30% that they're not certain. It can be higher than that, especially if you were not good to them. But for the most part, they believe they have to go through with the breakup. And so if you fight them on that, they will try harder. They will run away further. And they make you into the enemy who's preventing them from getting what they think they want. So it doesn't work to try to stop them when they break up with you. It's not just where you can have a talk and talk them out of it because they feel it. And it's based on emotions, and it's based on logic because they've had those conversations. And so they kind of have both of those things. But what you may notice most about your ex is that they might seem cold, at least colder than they have been. And that's that logical part of them that has made the decision. And so in that moment, you simply can't just give them more of yourself and expect them to want it. It's sort of like if someone is eating a food and they say, I'm done with that, I don't want any more. And you say, no, just take another bite and you'll want more. Usually that's not at all what happens, because they don't want any more. And so in this situation, less is much more because of the mindset that your ex is in. And that's why no contact can work. And that's why it works a lot of the time. It doesn't mean that there's a guarantee or that it always works, but it's a situation where if anything works, this will, or at least it will be the setup for your ex to come back to the table, want to talk about it in the future, to where you two could start to get back together and work on things in the relationship. Because no contact does not fix all the problems that may have existed, but it does oftentimes bring an ex back to the table to at least consider it and discuss the situation later on. Number two, no contact shows that there's little risk of reuniting with you. And what I mean is that when your ex breaks up with you, if you respond poorly, and a lot of people do, and if you stop after you do respond to them poorly for a little bit, a few days, maybe a couple of weeks, if you can stop, then things are usually okay, just because it's normal for someone to hurt after a breakup, and you can kind of have pattern interruption on your side, unless you do the wrong things for too long and you just give them a terrible breakup, you act mentally unstable, you show a lot of weakness, you won't leave them alone, you show up uninvited or unannounced, that kind of thing. It can cause your ex to think that if they were to get back together with you, but they changed their mind again and thought, I really do want the breakup. They think, but I'll have to go through all of that again. I'll have to go through your response all over again. And so that means that the hurdle becomes higher, because they have to be 100% convinced that they want to get back together with you. And you don't leave any room for them to have some doubt and things like that, which is very normal. Most people, when they do get back together with someone, sometimes it's 80%, 90% sure, but there's always some doubt, just because we're human. And they know that. And so you don't want them thinking that they can't get back together with you unless they're 100% certain, because if they do realize that they want the breakup and that's just what has to happen, then they can sit there and think, but I'll have to go through his response or her response all over again. And so that can keep them from getting back together with you. So that's where no contact protects you from that scenario. Before I get to number 3, get more information on my emergency breakup kit. It's at myexbackcoach.com/EBK. It's my guide to help you get your ex back. It gives you information on details I don't discuss in my videos. It can help you get back together with your ex. The link is in the description below. It's my emergency breakup kit at myexbackcoach.com. Number 3, no contact preserves your respect and your dignity, at least from your ex. They view you as someone who had a difficult scenario given to them in this breakup. They know that it hurt you, but you responded with grace and dignity. You didn't just try to force yourself where you weren't welcome. You bowed out gracefully. And that's something that they can look at and they can respect you and they can see your dignity in the situation. That's a lot better than the opposite. And a lot of people will think that they will actually make themselves look bad on purpose to show their ex how much they love them. And they'll think they will see that I'm making myself look bad, that I'm willing to do this for men, that they're willing to emasculate themselves many times and just look very weak. And they'll think, but that will show how much I love this person, that I'm willing to do this. But unfortunately, what it does, again, because of their mindset, is that it causes them to lose respect for you. It's something that's not attractive. It's not dignified. And so in many ways, it gives them more evidence that they were right about breaking up with you. It's like, yeah, I don't want to be with this person because look at how they are behaving. And I know that sounds cruel because you're responding to pain and you're responding in love, because you are trying to do whatever you can to get back together with the one that you love, and you are hurting and grieving what feels like betrayal, what feels like abandonment. But it won't look that way to them because remember, their attraction has fallen. So that's how they are viewing you, from a fallen point of attraction. And so when attraction's already low and you do things that are unattractive, you don't have much room to go before attraction really gets very, very low, even lower than it was at the breakup. So in that way, the no contact rule preserves your respect and your dignity, which is very, very important for attraction. Number 4, it allows your ex to miss you. So many people will say, how can I get my ex to miss me? Well, you have to be missed. You have to not be there. Because if you are there, it's the opposite of being missed. And so they have to have those moments. They have to have those nights where they're not hearing from you and they hear their phone vibrate and they think it might be you and it's somebody else. And they kind of start to think, well, maybe this person's not going to try to get me back. Why would they not try to get me back? Am I not attractive enough? That's kind of what you want them to think. It's normal for them to think that. And they need to actually realize that if you two were together, that you would probably be together in that moment in their house, their apartment, or your place. And that can cause them to miss you being around. They can miss your company because you won't be there. But when you won't go away, it actually does the opposite. It makes them want you gone, which is the opposite of missing you. And they feel like it will be so wonderful when you're gone. And it can give them a lot of relief when they finally get away from you, and might even tempt them to block you and things like that. So remember, if you want them to miss you, you can't be there. You have to be gone so that they can acknowledge your absence and feel something from that, like pain or regret or something like that. And that's where no contact helps you out. Before I get to number 5, remember to get information on my emergency breakup kit. The link's in the description below. You can go to myexbackcoach.com and information is there about my emergency breakup kit. Number 5, no contact prevents your ex's ego from being inflated further. Because when they break up with you, in that event, it feels like they are more attractive than you because they're the ones breaking up with you. They're saying, I know you want to be with me, but I don't want to be with you. And just doing that, just taking that action lowers their attraction even further for you because they're dismissing you. They're saying, I don't want to be with you. And so if you chase and you just won't leave them alone, they will start to think that they are just so attractive in your eyes that you can't stay away, that you will even appear to be crazy, that you'll do all these things that normally you wouldn't do, that you will cry, beg, plead, pester them, that you won't leave them alone. And they kind of think, I am so attractive, I've driven them crazy, look at them. And it really throws off the balance and it can delay things. It can make them just absolutely refuse to speak with you later on. It can give them a lot of anxiety just because they think that if they're going to be around you, that you're going to behave that way. And it makes them feel like that you are beneath them and that you're worshiping them. And it just really throws off the dynamic to where they don't want to get back together, because we all want to be with somebody we feel like is attractive, that we're attracted to. We don't want to be the most attractive one. We want it to be close to equal, or maybe even more so, because we want to want that person. And so in order to be wanted, you can't make their ego go up to where they think that they are above you in terms of attractiveness, because then they can't want you. They would just feel like you want them. And so no contact prevents your ex's ego from inflating so much that it hurts your odds of getting back together with them. You can book a coaching session with me at myexbackcoach.com, and I can guide you and help you have the best chance of getting your ex back. And you can also get my emergency breakup kit at myexbackcoach.com. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.